Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Making an Impact with Zebu Nation. And today we have for you the 2019 postseason review and spectacular. This is where we're going to look back at the season, look at all the sort of stats and emails and all that kind of stuff that we got. But also we're going to look forward a little bit to the entire month of December because there's a lot of roster stuff that happens in Major League Soccer in December. We got our youth intake. We've got, a couple of drafts and things like that. The transfer season opens. So we're going to have a few things to discuss, a few things to talk about. We're going to be, advancing the season and pausing and doing stuff like that. But before we get to all of that, take a look at the season in review emails. Now, hopefully you watched the end of the season and you saw that we did, in fact, win the Major League Soccer Cup, the end of the season playoffs that are basically the MLS championship. Some people will point at the Supporters Shield and say that that's the championship, but for real, if we're going to talk real here, it's all about MLS Cup. That's what most people in the U.S. will care about and will talk about when they talk about the championship. They will talk about MLS Cup, and there we are, Montreal Impact 2019 MLS Cup winners. The first time this franchise has ever won the MLS Cup, and we did it. So that's one of the goals of this save already taken care of. So that's pretty good in our second full season. Some other things that happened, some awards have happened. Pedro Santos from Columbus won the Landon Donovan MVP award. 7.39 rating on the season, 9 goals, 9 assists. Good job for Pedro. Surprising we didn't have anybody in the Rookie of the Year awards, but it went to Robert Woodward of the LA Galaxy, a 22-year-old central defender, played in all 36 games, average of 6.97. I guess that's pretty good. I'm really shocked we didn't have anybody, but now that I think about it, we didn't really have a lot of room for our rookies this season, so they didn't get a ton of playing time. Goalkeeper of the Year, of course, Matt Lampson from LA Galaxy. How this guy is so good, I don't know. Because he looks like Mr. Average for sure. He looks like a journeyman type goalkeeper. He's only valued at $1.1 million. But he had a heck of a season. And he led LAFC to a Supporters Shield championship. Seitz and Steffen finished 2 and 3. Two guys we're very familiar with. Played against both of those guys. Defender of the Year, another LA Galaxy, Keegan Rosenberry, another defender. They had an outstanding defensive season, so there's no question about that. Coach of the Year, look at that. Zebu Nation finishes 3rd this season. I think they vote on this before the MLS Cup is over. So, we didn't quite get that put in there, but still, we finished 3rd. Wilmer Cabrera, 2nd, and Ben Olsen from Columbus. Columbus had a heck of a season, so you can't really say much bad about that. All these teams had pretty good seasons, so no questions there. Best 11, look at that. Kyle Larin up there in the MLS Best 11 this season. That's outstanding. Elise up there, Martinez, a lot of guys from Houston. Cabezas, Zimmerman, Seitz is the goalkeeper. 3 defenders. This is an interesting formation, a 3-4-1-2. Filipovic and Leardom from Seattle on the left-hand side. There's Santos, Yotun, Dos Santos. It's probably Jonathan, I would assume. Yep, Jonathan Dos Santos from LA. And then the Houston guys up front, along with Kyle Aaron. So it's an interesting mix of players. You can see how good Houston was. We've lost, or we're losing some staff members. So we're putting out some ads to try and find some new guys, get some replacements, get some new ideas, and some fresh blood in the coaching staff. So that's good. General manager, we're on the hunt for a new general manager. sent Yaya Toure on a coaching course. I don't know that he's actually going to want to stay with us and coach with us, but we're going to send him on a coaching course because they said like doing this will help keep him at the team. So, we can keep him on the team as a coach. I think that would be fun. The board is all about it. They want, because he's our highest profile person at the club by far, they definitely want to keep Yaya Toure. So we'll do what we can. See if we can offer him a coaching position, but I don't think he's interested. Our best 11 for Montreal this season, we got Crepeau in goal. That's interesting. Tran, Salmon, Cabrera, Diallo is still on the list. Andre Teixeira, Vargas, Petrasso, Jackson O'Mell, and Kyle Larin up top. So a lot of guys from this season, but a few guys who have been, holdovers. Let's see, who are the new players? Salmon, Piet, Tran, Giguère, Dupuis were all added to the list, mostly as reserves. But still, nice accomplishment for those guys. Here is our end-of-season awards. As probably predicted, Kyle Larin, player of the season at 54%. Then Vargas and Jackson O'Mell. So our top 3 goal scorers, or top 3 goal threats anyway, are up there as the top 3 listed. Goal of the season, Yaya Toure. Let's take a look at this one versus Chicago. Oh, yeah, here it is. It's that penalty, or that free kick, just a perfect kick. Doesn't get any better than that, honestly. I mean, basically unstoppable unless the goalkeeper was headed in that direction before he even kicked the ball. I mean, that was just beautiful. So good job for Toure getting goal of the season. Signing of the season, of course, Kyle Larin, $2.1 million. Young player of the season, Kyle Larin. It's interesting. Stats, top goal scorer, guess who? Kyle Larin. Highest average rated player, I guess must have had some ties or something because nobody is listed there. Anyway, Vargas, most assists. That's interesting. 11 assists. I didn't realize he had so many. Best pass completion, Toure. Good job. That's surprising as well, but also not surprising. I mean, he should have the best passing percentage on the team, but a lot of times in games we sort of focused on his turnovers. So maybe it's just, us focusing on that too much. Anyway, most players of the match, Petrasso. That's another interesting stat. 5 players of the match. That's pretty good. Most yellow cards, Duverne, our French loanee in the defense fullback. He played mostly fullback, but he got 9 yellow cards. And then worst discipline, Cabrera, Piet, Hassler, and Vasquez all had a red card. Interesting that Duverne had 9 yellow cards and no red cards. So at least the young man knew his limits and didn't go overboard. So that's a pretty good look at the team. We can look at overall statistics, I guess, real quick. Let's see. Stats, competitions, league. I guess the only thing left to really look at, if we can move these over. There we go. The only thing that we didn't really get a chance to look at was average rating. So Carrera, our young winger, has a 7.7 rating, but he only played in 1 game. So it looks like somebody with the most appearances, Jackson O'Mell, with 19 appearances and 2 subs, had a 7.4 rating. Kyle Larin, 7.39. Who else? Vargas had a 7.09 with 24 rating. I mean, we had a lot of guys. We rotated in a lot of guys. Look at our appearances. Andre played in all, well, not all, but he played in 31 matches. That's pretty good. I mean, that's a guy, he was our workhorse this season, for sure. He's the only guy who broke 30 games. Cabrera and Vargas are up there, 28 and 27. We subbed a lot this year, so Salmon had 19 starts. Those must have all come at the beginning of the season because he really hardly played at all at the end of the season. And that might continue for the foreseeable future. So we got to decide what to do with Carl Salmon. But anyway, It was a good season. We had a lot of good ratings. Look at all these guys with above 7 rating. That's what you want to see. Had pretty much 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players with more than a 7 rating. So that's pretty good. Who's our lowest rating? Who's our worst player? Hassler, 6.57 with only 6 appearances. Pace, Mancosu, 6.64 with only 8 appearances. So we didn't trigger his contract, thankfully enough. Giglio had the most appearances with the worst rating, I guess. Salmon, Tran. Cabrera, for 27 appearances, only 6.77 rating. Anyway, regardless of the ratings, we had a good season. Now let's take a look at that season schedule. It started off, the preseason was fine. Nothing much going on there. But the first quarter of the season was a bit perplexing because we had so many losses. Look at all these. Look at all this red. All these losses. And it took a while for our team to find its footing and to get going. And where we found our footing was in the second quarter, starting with the Canadian Championships. You see here, we played our rival, Toronto FC, 3 times in a row. Got 2 wins and a draw. One of those wins was in the MLS, but 2 of them were in the Canadian Championship. That got us to the next round of the Canadian Championships and really built this team. We can take a look at the 2-2 draw here. As you can see, we didn't play outstanding in this game. Giglio, 6.1. Jaguar, 6.4 rating. Jackson Amella, 5.9 rating. But we pulled together and we pulled through against Toronto, who actually had a pretty bad season this year. It was better than last year, but still pretty bad by their recent standards. But here are the goals, 6 minutes and counting. Petrasso out wide. As you can see, it's at Toronto. Great pass back post to Romero to get the goals flowing. But then Toronto sort of comes back and tries to take control of the match. Here's Gage. He likes to run with the ball. Gets it to Callens, to Zapata. Vasquez with a goal. So that tied it up just shortly after we scored, just a few minutes later. And then before half, Altidore out wide to Roa. Giovinco played very well this season. Back post to Zapata. Great pass to Gage for the goal, the go-ahead goal. And then we struggled and things were in question until the 84th minute when Tedere hits a free kick goal to tie it up. So that was a huge goal. Without that goal, I don't know what would have happened to the season. We might have not done as well this season because that run really got us off and flying in the second quarter. As you can see, only 1 loss in the second quarter to Atlanta United. We really took off, played some outstanding games. Then we got to the end of the season, the fourth quarter. The third quarter we were completely undefeated. No losses. 1 friendly loss to Bologna. And then we win the Canadian Championship to boot. And after that win in the Canadian Championship, we had a little bit of a drop-off. So it's sort of a bookend to our season right there. We got a kickoff by winning in the early round of the Canadian Championship. And then we had a drop-off after we won it. And we went on a winless streak that was pretty bad for 3, 6, 7 game winless streak. It ended in a humiliating 5-1 defeat to LA Galaxy, the best team in the league this season. But then we got picked up at the end of the season by our old friends Philadelphia. We've had some crazy games versus Philadelphia this year. Look at the early season. Where did that game go? Yes. Did I miss it? Where'd it go? I thought we played an early season game versus Philadelphia. There it is. 5-4 early season versus Philadelphia. I guess it's sort of mid-season. But anyway, it was a crazy game. Goals galore. And then the same thing happened at the end of the season. 4-2 victory And then in the playoffs, in the wild card game, we got scheduled against them again, and we had just a crazy game. 4-4, went into penalty shootouts. Piet got a red card. Vargas was injured. We were limping at the end of that game, but Philadelphia wasn't feeling much better. Bedoya was injured and out for them. Caldwell, injured. Let's take a look at these highlights. Let's go crazy here. Take a look at all these goals. I don't know if they're going to show the overtime highlights too. That would be interesting. Maybe we shouldn't have delved into these highlights. We could be here for like a half an hour. So here's Philadelphia getting the goal scoring going early. David Accam just races through our whole defense, gets it to Picot for the easy goal, straight over our central defense. So that had me worried. Like, what have we got ourselves into? But here is Vargas sending one forward. Kyle Larin on the run behind their defense, and an easy goal. Vermeer was their goalkeeper this year, and he was just awful. I don't know what his deal was, but we scored so many goals against Vermeer, it was ridiculous. Here's Petrasso getting the ball forward to Jackson Amell, and he slides one past Vermeer. We go up now, 2-1. Correct? Yeah? Sure. Here's Dupuis trying to get in on the act. Jackson Amell sends it forward. Kyle Larin. Larin looking, gets it to Dupuis for the header, and he scores a goal. 3-1 at this point. We're feeling pretty good about ourselves. But then Andre tries to get it forward. Turnover to Jones, who counters attack. David Accam to Picot, and he just rockets one to get Philadelphia back in the game. And then here's David Accam again, going wide on our defense. Sends one in. Chavez out to Hayduk. In to Chavez. Goal. Ties it up. Not looking real good. 89th minute. And then here's 96th minute. Picot around our defense. Everybody's going around our defense in this game. David Accam puts them ahead 4-3. And then 114th minute, the second half of overtime. We're thinking we're going to lose, but here's Jackson Amell, Petrasso, down to Kyle Larin, and there is our fourth goal to tie it up in the 115th minute. Sends us to penalty kicks. Now they're going to show all the penalty kicks. There's Jones for Philadelphia. There he is again, apparently. They're going to show all the replays. Goals and replays. Yaya Toure scores. Fancy. Good job. Upper corner. Yep, they're going to show all the replays, too. Toure. Interesting. I don't know why, but whatever. Here's Caldwell. Rockets one. Outstanding. Let's see that again. Hey, rocket. Okay. Kyle Larin looking for his goal. Oh, no. He's stopped. What are we going to do? Here's Suevas. He hits the post and saves us. I mean, that's another thing that kept us going, was him missing that shot. And then Andre sort of slides one in, as we can see. Slides it in. Good replay. Kouassi. Oh, what a stop by Leutwiler. What a guy. Here's Petrasso for the winner. Right down the middle. Here it is again. That was the winner, correct? No. David Accam. Slides one past Leutwiler. That would have been the winner if he'd have stopped that. But he did not. Just went right underneath him. Finally, Jackson Amell. He gets the winner. There it is. So that's a lot of goals to look at, and that's just how crazy it was versus Philadelphia this season. We scored so many goals against them. I think we scored 4 goals in all the games that we played against them, so that's pretty wild. Pretty wild. All right, well, that propelled us on into the playoffs. We beat Columbus. We beat New York Red Bulls in the Eastern Conference Finals, and then we went on to the MLS Cup, beat Houston Dynamo 1-0. Had a lot of yellow cards in this game, but overall we played very well. Outplayed Houston, especially defensively, which is, change for Houston because they played very well defensively, but offensively is really where they shine this season. I mean, there's no question about that. And we can take a look at some statistics, some season stats to sort of show that. Look at team stats. Houston Dynamo, number 1 in the league in goals, 83 goals. They just blew away the entire league in terms of scoring. That's just outstanding. We were in second place, though, with 70 goals. Look at that, a full 13 goals behind Houston. And then we were 9 goals ahead of the Red Bulls. So it's interesting to note that the 2 best offensive teams in the league, or at least the 2 highest scoring teams in the league, were in the Cup Championship. I don't know. I find that a little bit interesting. Chicago Fire is the most headers won. Good for them, I guess. We were not on this list. We weren't very good at headers. We had kind of a short central defense this season, so I don't know what we can do about that. But, Cabrera's not the biggest guy, and obviously Gajer isn't a big guy either. So we got issues when it comes to heading, but it wasn't too much of a problem. Most possession, Houston Dynamo again at the top of the list, showing their offensive prowess. Most tackles, Orlando City. They were just out of control, 79%, 837 tackles on the season. Look at Colorado, though, 1,000 tackles. So they tackled a lot, but just not quite as proficiently as Orlando, but still the percentages are so small at this point that really what's the difference? Least concession, though, LA Galaxy, Columbus Crew. Interesting that those 2 teams were at the top of their conferences. So the 2 best defensive teams won their conferences. LA Galaxy, Columbus Crew won the Eastern Conference. LA won the Western Conference. And LA wins the Supporter Shield. So I guess defense wins championships. Offense wins tournaments, maybe. That's something you could add. But anyway, there's a lot of good defensive performances this season, but LA just really played outstanding defensively. I mean, only allowing 29 goals in 36 matches is pretty good. I don't care who you are. Most shutouts, LA with 20 shutouts. And look at that. We finished 6th in the league in shutouts with 10 amongst our 2 goalkeepers, I guess. Chicago and Real Salt Lake were tied with us for 10, but still 20 shutouts in 36 games. Again, really good for LA Galaxy. Most fouls, we're 2nd in the league in fouls to Real Salt Lake. 556. They were really a little bit out of control, but we weren't too far behind them with 518 fouls. Most passes completed, Houston, again showing that offensive prowess. And another interesting top 3 teams in the league, essentially Houston, LA, and Columbus, best passing teams in the league, so that's got to show you something. Most crosses at Minnesota and Portland at 16%, but we weren't too far off at 14%. Houston up there at 15%. I mean, this is fine. This is a good stat to be high in, but it's not one of those things that really sort of impacts the game as much as goals scored, goals allowed, that kind of stuff. Hitting the target, I wish we were higher on this list. 41% for 7th place isn't where I like to be. I like to be higher, closer to 45%, closer to 50% if possible, but usually 45% is about the upper limit you can reach at this level. But still, we weren't too far off the pace. San Jose, interestingly enough, I guess they didn't get enough shots, although 174 is okay, I guess. It's nothing compared to our 216 or Dynamo's 275. So some of these teams just weren't generating enough shots, like Columbus. I mean, they made 42% of their shots on target, but they only had 146. So that's, almost half of what Houston shot. So, Columbus, maybe take it up a notch next season. You can look at player stats real quick. Albert Elise, number 1 in the league with 23 goals, followed closely by Max Arudi, 22 goals, 20 for Verone. Dom Dwyer also with 20. And there's our man, Kyle Larin, in 5th place, 17 goals, along with Ramirez, Adair, and David Akam with 16. So there's a lot of familiar names on that list. Most assists, Giovinco with 14 assists. He's still out there. They moved him away from a primary striker role, moved him more towards the wing, and he's adapted his game to suit. Martinez from Houston with 13 assists also. Lamah from FC Dallas is up there. There's David Accam, tied with Jeshim Vargas for 11 assists on the season. It's pretty good for a guy who didn't actually play that many games. Hopefully we can get some more out of Vargas next season. He's one of those guys who has his eye on higher divisions, on better leagues, more prominent leagues. So we might not be able to keep Vargas for very much longer, but for as long as we can keep him, we'll try to work with him. Speaking of Vargas, he's running all over the place again. 9.26 miles covered per game, so that's just a lot of miles run. And I don't know why he runs around so much, but he does, and can't stop him. Who else is up there? Ladero is up there. Gage, Villalba from Atlanta United. Latif Blessing from LAFC. So a lot of guys running around like chickens with their heads cut off. Most key tackles. There's Walker Zimmerman from Houston. We don't have anybody on the list, so let's move on. Least conceded, of course, Matt Lamson from LA is first with only 27 allowed in 34 appearances. Stefan Bono for New England. So he must have got traded from Toronto. Take a look. Yes, trade to New England. Let's take a look at New England's transfer history. See what they were all about. Yep, so look at all the trades for New England. Holy cow. They traded a lot of stuff, mostly for draft picks, it looks like. They got Dylan Powers, Jose Villarreal, international slot. So, yeah, New England, wheeling and dealing, and here they are down here. A very, very late trade. They traded away Real Salt Lake's 2021 first-round draft pick, so two years from now. They traded that away for Bono. Guess he played pretty well for him since he was on that list. But anyway, we're down in the weeds. Most shutouts, of course, Lamson. Zach Steffen is up there for Columbus. David Bingham for FC Dallas. That's interesting. 30-year-old goalkeeper. They went out and got a new goalkeeper. Tim Malia, that's no surprise. Robles, also no surprise. So there's Vermeer. Interesting that he had 9 shutouts when we scored so many goals on this guy. Anyway, most tackles. Don't have anybody on this list. There's De Jong from Vancouver. Nobody else we really recognize that much. David Accam, most dribbles per game. Good for you. Most key passes. There's Martinez again for Houston. Giovanni Dos Santos. Blanco. There's Kyle Larin. Interesting. 4th in the league. 66 key passes. So he wasn't just a goal scorer. He was also a playmaker up top. And we rely on our, in that 4-2-4 that we play, we rely on our strikers to also be playmakers. And then best at hitting the target, Ola Kamara, 63%. There's Zardes up there, 60%. Interesting, Mane with 59% of his shots on target. 27 total appearances, 7 goals. Doesn't show how many shots he took, but he put 59% of them on target. That is unexpected for sure. What's his? He is finishing 11, composure 8. So I don't know why he's so accurate, but he is. So good for him. Sasha Kleshtin up there, Dom Dwyer. So a few familiar names up there on the list. And so there we go. There's our stats for the season. I don't know what else we need to look at. I mean, we can look at a few more of these emails. Here's our squad dynamics for the season. As you can see, our team leader is Romero. We're going to re-sign Romero basically for this reason, just because he's our lone team leader. He's our captain. I think we need to keep him around. He's only 29, so he's got a couple of good years left in him. Going to try to move him back to more of a rotational contract because we have so many wingers, so many young wingers that we need to get on the field that I think we can have Romero lead from the bench a little bit. And maybe bring some of these other guys up into leadership roles. Jackson Amell, Vargas, and Kyle Larin would be good to get into full-fledged leadership roles. End of season confidence review. The board graciously grants us a 69% for winning the MLS Cup in a season where they just wanted the wild card. So, I guess good luck to them. Hang on a second. Sorry about that. Got a little text action. All right, back to the issues at hand. Here's our injury report for the end of the season. Not too bad. Boxall, of course, he was out for the whole season. Vasquez was out for a long time, but he was on the bench, so it didn't matter. Louis, Mancosu. The only big injury, I guess, was Petrasso in the middle of the season with 4 weeks. I guess, Vargas was out. Jackson Amell was out. Raheem Edwards, that's no problem. When Jackson Amell went out, we really dipped. That was a big issue for us in that, middle of the season. So there were a few injuries that took its toll, but for the most part, we were able to keep the ship afloat until everybody got back. And training summary, we got one unhappy person. Who's this? Victor Cabrera. Jared Watts. All right, whatever. Get out of here. Don't care about you guys. We put in another advertisement. We're going to look for another coach. If Yaya Toure doesn't want to join us, we're going to put out the ads and see who will join us. So we are now officially on vacation. Although, again, I got to stress, it's important that you do not go on vacation at this time of the year. There's a lot of stuff going on with MLS. So don't go on vacation in December, at least after the MLS Cup. Go on vacation, if you don't make the playoffs. Go on vacation up to the MLS Cup and then stop there because you're going to have all of this stuff happen. But officially the team is on vacation and we got to decide when to come back. I usually like to start the preseason 5 weeks early just to give us a little bit of extra time. So we'll confirm that and move on. And here's the transfer window. Stuff's going on here. Look at all these names joining. And these are mostly academy players that we're bringing up. Now, our contracts for everybody else doesn't actually run out until the 31st. But we might have a few things happen between now and then. So I think after we're done thinking here, I'm going to pause it, do a little transfer stuff, a little transfer or something, and come back and show you an update. So, we got hit with taxes. That's no good. Here's our commercial summary. Oh, this is always fun to look at. Annual revenue, $6.21 million in sponsorships. That's pretty good. Corporate hospitality, $997,000. Not so good. Match day, commercial and retail, also less than $1 million. Competition prize money, it's good, I guess. Broadcast revenue, $3.79 million. Hopefully that goes up every season, but you never know. Or at least whenever the TV contract is up for MLS. I'm not sure when that is. But I wonder if they built that into the game. Like whenever a league has their TV contract up for bid, will they get more money based on their reputation going up, or less money, or the same? It'd be interesting to know if that was in fact built into the game at some point. So we'll keep an eye on that number, $3.79 million, and see if it goes up or down next season. Total merchandise sales were $1.87 million, with non-domestic sales amounting to $187,000. I guess that's okay. Club sold a total of 12,000 jerseys, 12,641 to be exact. Kyle Larin was number 1. Yaya Toure number 2. So he sold some jerseys. Vargas, Petrasso, Mane. So we made some good signings this season. You look at our signings, Larin, Toure, Mane, all sold us some jerseys, so that's pretty good. And then our 2 young wingers, Vargas and Petrasso, also were up there. So That's outstanding. New scouting budget. That's fine. The board has injected $4.7 million to help with running costs. I mean, I guess that's good, but we didn't necessarily need that. Board to upgrade training facilities. Board announced construction work has begun to upgrade the training facilities, so that's good. We've been planning this all season long, and now they're getting to the construction phase of it, so that's good. Dietz finally retired. It was funny, like we had all of our players and coaches who were retiring this season. They kept having to postpone their retirement because we kept winning playoff games. So now he can finally retire. Born in March of 1948, had a playing career which spans 17 years, 1970 to 87. Made 529 appearances, scoring 77 goals. Played for the German national team, debuted against Malta in 1974. 53 appearances for his country. Has been a scout with Montreal since December of 2017. So, old man Dietz had, a good run, but his working days are over. He's got a nice pension and all that stuff. Hopefully he retires in peace and prosperity. We got some more advertisements going on for our potential vacancies. Hamburg is coming back around, I guess. Maybe. There's rumors, so that's going to start up the rumor mill again. But anyway, I'm going to pause it here and then come back with some updates. So, pause.